Hello everyone, I am the Aries. Today is Thursday. Well, I guess Friday now. August something or another. I'm going to do a quick video because these videos, no matter how quick they are, take forever to upload. A special shout out to Shell from No... Yes, I'm going to struggle with this name again. I don't really understand why. No Kai Oi Tarot. Thanks, Shell, for everything you've done. Thanks for being there. Thanks for being a friend. No, I'm not going to start singing the Golden Girls either. But thanks for being a friend, Shell. I'd also like to thank everyone who's watching these videos. I realize that people will probably start watching in the future sometime. But for those who, who are watching now, I thank you. So today I want to talk about people who do tarot and then get out of tarot. Now, in and of itself, that's fine. If the spiritual world isn't for some people, it's not for some people. However, I do have a problem with people who do tarot, get out of tarot, and then badmouth tarot on the way out. I've seen a couple readers like that. A couple fairly big readers, I think. Pretty Boss TV, and now one, Chandler Delight. Now, it's okay. I guess they both found Jesus, at least the Bible's version of Jesus anyway, and quit doing tarot. Of course, I'd remind people that it was not a book that led the wise men to Jesus. But that's aside from the fact. But these two readers kept saying they were miserable doing what they were doing, and that tarot only made things worse. I'm of the opinion that you get what you give. And if you go in with something with a bad attitude, negative thinking, negative emotions and feelings, that's what you're going to get out of the situation. And I also noticed that these two readers used to talk about twin flame a lot. No, I'm not about to start bashing twin flame. I'm just bringing it up. Well, I don't plan on bad-mouthing twin flame, because I bad-mouthed it enough. But anyway, you know, twin flame kind of like pits the masculine versus the feminine, you know, in just some kind of contest or sparring match, when I've always been of the opinion that the masculine and feminine energies need to work together in harmony and all that. Because the greatest achievements will always happen when men and women work together. But these two readers, and I'm not necessarily singling them out. Pretty Boss, I think she left tarot for quite some time ago. And Chandler Delight, she'd been gone for a while. But I saw a video that she did like 2 months ago talking about I'm in it with Jesus these days or whatever. Fine, that's fine. But they badmouth tarot, and then they started talking about how they were getting attacked or something or another. And I'm thinking to myself, if you put out bad energy, you're going to get bad energy in return. And when you pit the masculine versus the feminine against one another, that's bad energy. And of course, that's what you're going to get out of the spiritual world. And that doesn't give anybody a right to sit here and badmouth tarot, because I wonder, did you lead people astray? Do you not believe in the powers of the tarot, of the stars? Because, well, I don't know what they were thinking, what's in their hearts, but I look at how these cards go. I look at some of the things I've seen and witnessed outside of the cards. And it gives me quite a sense of faith, more so than any religion ever did. Why listen to a preacher man who's only quoting from a book that's been changed countless times, and that you know has been changed countless times? And how many books of the Bible were left out of the Bible? It was written over hundreds of years by quite a few writers. And also, Jesus was not a Christian. It was the stars that led the wise men to Jesus. People need to read between the lines and understand what that actually meant. The wise men knew Jesus was going to come around. The stars had predicted it. Now, how the stars influence everything, how they work, I don't really know. You know, I mean, I think at one time people did understand the hows and whys of this world, but so much knowledge has been destroyed. You never really know what was left out, what was lost, what we don't know now that we knew before. All I do know is that the stars do influence people. I've seen this. I felt this. Now, if I can remember where I was and get back on track. Oh. So if you're found Jesus, found religion or whatever, did you give the money back that you took from people? Did you apologize to people and say that you either led them astray or led them on a dark demonic path? Seems to me that people get scared in the spiritual world. And I get it, because if you understand just how closely the spiritual world is related to the physical world, and you see it, a lot of people would get scared. And that's why some people just shouldn't do tarot from the beginning. I mean, you have to be a brave person to want to understand the truth, because you have to sit there and say, well, you know what? I have to stand up and say that I've been lied to the whole time. You know, I mean, you look what the Bible says. Oh, you get in this world, you're going to be damned to hell and all that. That's programming. You have to be above that. Which is not to say that there's no truth in the Bible, but there's a lot of lies in it. And the best lies always contain a little bit of truth in it anyway. The truth, Jesus existed. The lie, well, people like to say that Jesus died for our sins. I like to think that Jesus lived to show us how to live, to show us that we didn't have to worry about what man has to say about who and what God is and what God wants. You look at some of the most corrupt people around, and they're the religious people. And these religious leaders, and I don't mean to single people out, but, you know, I mean, come on. Look at how they worship that money. These evangelicals are the worst. Side note, I'm not trying to single Christianity out, because I've got a problem with all these religions. But I want to take a moment to sit there and say that the religion of Islam, the extreme version of it, is an evil thing. We've all heard what's going on in Afghanistan with the Taliban. It is a sad day for the universe. Sad day for women. Sharia law is an enemy of joy. It is not right how they treat women. It is not right how they just want to take the rights and freedoms of people. Saw an article today, a boy was beaten because he was wearing shorts. And I think some of these Sharia sects don't want people singing and dancing. Joyful activities. And of course, you know how Christianity says, the devil was his influence was over music or whatever, you know, and we get a lot of our information, a lot of our confirmations from music. Now, is all music good? Of course not. You look at some of this bullshit music going on. Not only is it bad music, I mean, really, the best music was in the 90s, followed closely by the 80s. Then I guess, early 2000s. After that, who cares? I'm not going to take that. But the Eight of Swords and sideways position did fall out. The enemy of joy, religion. Because what do? They sit there and tell you what you can and can't do. Or else. Threats. You ask me, a lot of these religions are bad magic. Because they have you trying to think what we're saying is the truth. And if you sit there and try to learn anything else, you're following evil. You're being influenced by the devil, demons, whatever. Trying to make you think it's wrong to question something. And you should question everything. Even this world, you should question it. I can say that because if you really look closely at it, you'll find the truth in it. But question everything. But religion doesn't want you to do that. Oh, if you question us, it's the devil talking. No, it's the devil telling you, hey, look, don't think for yourselves. Think how we think. But the Taliban taking over Afghanistan again. That's just sad, sad, sad all the way around. And it's like I said on my Twitter today. America or any other nation, you can impose freedom on a people if they don't want freedom enough to fight for it for themselves. Because otherwise, you're just inviting a country to come in and rule you. And imperialism will not be the name of the game these days. We want nations to come together of their own accord, not because someone is imposing their rule. Because if some other country is going to impose their rule over you, they're going to sit there and want to do for themselves first. And then maybe do something for the country they're taking over, colonizing, whatever. But it is a sad day for the people of Afghanistan. But they have to understand it. You can't count on other nations to save you unless you're willing to save yourselves. You have to fight. Sometimes you might have to die. I don't take joy in saying that, but it is what it is. Now, it might be different to say they wanted to become part of America. Maybe that would have been different then, you know, but that's not what they wanted. They wanted to be sovereign people. And I get that, and I understand that. But being sovereign means you have to fight for the country that's yours. Fight for how you want your country to be ruled. And the Afghan army just ran away like a bunch of cowards, time and time again. And the Afghan government, even when Hamid Karzai, the first, was it emperor? Not emperor, but was it president? I guess the title of the president. Anyway, when they put him in there, well, I guess when he got elected in there, he was not a good leader. He wanted to sit there and will and deal with the Taliban. And you can't deal with the devil. You can't. Now you got the Taliban in charge again. I saw the other day how the U.S. planes were taking off, and people were just trying to cling on to those planes. Foolishly, of course, because they're rolling down the tarmac. People, I think someone actually died falling from one of these planes. Oh, look. The Eight of Swords came out again. I could have sworn I put it in the deck in the right way, but we'll leave that there. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it there because I'm not really sure what to do about Afghanistan, or even if we should do anything about it. Well, we probably shouldn't. But I tell you what, we left that place in a bad way. Being that we left a lot of weapons there. Weapons that you know are going to be used against the people, or maybe even Western nations. Who knows? Who knows where these weapons might go to? We should have destroyed them. The rollout was not done smartly, but I'm not sure what could have happened because the Afghan army just rolled over. We were doing all this training for them for what? So, if a people aren't willing to fight for themselves, you can't fight for them. You can't. Otherwise, you'll be in those countries forever and ever. And of course, Big Mouth Trump is running his mouth talking about it, but he was willing and dealing with the Taliban as well. Speaking of Trump, I'm getting sick and tired of, well, I get Trump. Trump is Trump. But I'm getting sick and tired of his supporters who want to sit here and just gloss over everything and think he was the next coming of Jesus. And that's what some of these evangelicals seem like they wanted. Because you notice how a lot of these evangelicals who go around praising Trump, are talking about, were the same ones who were talking about, oh, Obama's the Antichrist. Now, putting two and two together there, I think there's something to that. And then after the mix, QAnon. QAnon, I do not trust at all. Because you see what their bullshit is doing. You see what these people who adhere to QAnon doctrine, you see them getting their karma. You're seeing what they were doing the whole time. You're seeing what they're doing. I think this guy killed his kids with a spear gun. Talking about they were infected with lizard man DNA, which reminds me of reptilians. And QAnon has some sort of spiritual link to them. If you look at the terminology they use words like the Great Awakening. And other terms that I can't really think of right now, but just look at what they sit there and say. They have knowledge of the spiritual world, but considering the fact that they're trying to cause division, they're part of the dark spiritual world. We have the Ace of Cups that fell out. I'm certainly trying to offer some new insight, a new cup of truth. But let me put these cards aside for a second and just talk. Religion. I don't want to badmouth it. Everyone has the right to believe what they want to believe in. But you have to understand that when a religion tells you you can't do this, you can't do that, and when they beat you for doing this and doing that, you have to ask yourself, is this religion true? Or is this just man's attempt to just control people? And I'm talking about the Taliban and Islam right now, but the same things went down with Christianity. Look, the Salem witch trials. Now, you ask me, that's just a way to control women. You know, you don't like what a woman is saying? Oh, I'm going to call her a witch. I don't like what that witch is doing. I'm going to burn her to stake. We'll give them some tests like, we'll put you in water. If you don't drown, you're not a witch. If you die, you were. That kind of bullshit. And you see the Taliban doing the same shit like that as well. I think I saw the other day some boy was forced to lick a hot piece of metal or something or other, and I think he was being accused of being a thief. And of course, if he got burnt, well, if he flinched, if he moved, he was guilty. But if he stood the torture and didn't have a mark on it, he was telling the truth. Bullshit. Bullshit what these religions are doing. Religions need to make, if a religion is true, it's going to make someone a better person. It's not going to have you living your life in fear. And that's what too many of these religions are doing. And then notice how, oh, my friend Char Wilcox, everyone, check her channel out. I'm usually there Tuesdays and Thursdays. As a moderator, come check me out. But yes, we had somebody, a troll here in the chat today, giving Bible quotes and everything. Why is it that some of these Christian people go out of their way to antagonize other people? You think they're doing it from the goodness of their heart, or do you think they're sitting there trying to attack people? You know, these are the same people who are saying they're being persecuted, but no, you're persecuting other people. You're bothering people who are in a chat to better themselves, to hang out, have a good time. And these religious people, don't do this. It's not what God says. When their only idea of who God is what was told to them by a preacher who read a book. You go back far enough, everyone's faith comes from being bullied by these preachers. Look at a black man who's a Christian in America. Well, you're only a Christian, because some slave owner beat that into you. And it goes for all sorts of people. Preaching God by the barrel of a gun, by the whip. What do? We preach God. God is source, the divine. Through cards, through words. Words that you can feel for yourself are true or not. Cards that you can get on your own and understand that, hey, they do represent energies. Peaceful. We preach our truth in peace. But yet and still, these religions want to try to bully us. Why? What are they afraid of? Oh, wait, I know what they're afraid of. People might have the truth and stop adhering to what these people... I keep saying it because religion is about control. You look at the Catholic Church... Oh, don't get me started about the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church is the worst. They're the worst denomination of Christianity. You look at what these priests have been up to the whole time. Just what we know. And imagine what we don't know about them. You had a whole... In Catholicism, it set itself up for failure. Priests who can't marry. What kind of sense is that? Women can't be priests? Why? Why not? Women, for the most part, are usually more level-headed than most men are. Do you know the divine feminine heals, nurtures? And the masculine is forceful, is doing, but it's so easily corruptible. Because you're doing, and there's a tendency to overdo, to which point that's control. And that's what they did. How many wars were started by the religions? And it's not, and I'm not singling anyone out, but Christianity and Islam, how many wars, how many people are dead because these two religions in particular? And then, of course, Christianity is talking about, oh, well, Jesus. No, Christians, no. Jesus was not a Christian because he was not for any religion. He knew that religions were a thing of man. Jesus would not appreciate all this garbage going on in his name. All the intolerance, all the hatred. And then, with religions, the best you can hope for is some tolerance. But with our world, the spiritual world, you have acceptance. You have love and acceptance. Religion, the best you can ask for is tolerance. And if you don't get tolerance, you're going to get God. And we've seen plenty of examples of that. Look at how religion is used to divide us. I mean, people use the Bible to justify slavery. Nothing that we do in this world could be misconstrued in that way. I've never heard a reader try to justify slavery by the stars. Never. But the religions, they do. And it's not right. It's not. And all these so-called religious people committing evil, attaching God or Jesus or whoever, or God or Jesus, or, well, I can't say what the hell Muslims are doing, because if you look at Muhammad, I mean, come on. Well, I guess since it's in for a penny, in for a pound, you can't tell me that a grown-ass man in his 50s who wants to marry a 7-year-old little girl is anything other than some pervert. You can't convince me otherwise. But all these religions are just offshoots of the Bible. And it has truth in it, but too much has been changed. That's why one of the things they told me was, when I awakened, was there are certain esoteric truths hidden in the works of science fiction, which implies that the place you usually found truth, the Bible, didn't have all that truth there. Whether it was lost or whether it was destroyed, it didn't contain all the truth. So of course the divine will put truth in all sorts of other ways. Because the divine are all around us. They're within us. They're without. They are. Religions, just man's word. Do this, do that. Go to hell if you don't. That's what religion is. It doesn't even matter what it is, which one it is. Although, there are some religions, I suppose, that are pretty good religions. Although, those religions usually have some kind of philosophical basis with it. Buddhism, can't be upset with Buddhism. Personally, I'm just tired of all these preachers with their $65 million jets and their limousines. Oh, I'm sorry, Cadillacs, because every preacher wants a Cadillac for some strange reason. They're richer than their parishioners are, than their flock is. Much more wealthier than they are. Peddling mistruths, peddling their hatreds, their animosities, and getting rich off of it. So yeah, I've got a problem with religious people because they're intolerant people. Hangman fell out. Put a lot of thought into this. And we all should think more about it. Think about it, people. Are your religions helping people? Or are they dividing people? Are they healing the world? Or are they destroying the world? Now, I was watching a video the other day. Some pastor, I forget his name. He was like, don't worry about global warming because when Jesus comes around, he's going to fix it all. Really? You think so? Fix what? The bullshit that man does? The man obviously doesn't care about because he keeps doing it? You people better watch out for the environment. You better start worrying about what the mother is, who the mother is, the Holy Mother, Mother Gaia. You better start worrying about it because this planet is going to go on, whether or not we're here to enjoy it. That's debatable because we could always start over. Always start over. Life's not going to be wiped out with what man does. Man might be wiped out, but come on. Ultimate survivor, the cockroaches. They'll be here after we're gone. And the divine can just start all over again. But that's not what we want. We want to give people the chance to clean their act up, to understand things about this world, about themselves. We have to start loving one another. We have to start caring about this planet. It's where we live. You don't shit where you eat. And we're shitting all over the planet. Look at what the nation's wealth goes to. All nations' wealth goes to. Building up militaries. To the point we keep building nuclear weapons for what? How many times do we want to destroy the world? We're building weapons that we don't ever want to use. We're using that money to build something that we don't ever want to use. When we could be using that money, could be using the wealth of humanity to cure diseases, to feed people, to clothe people, to put roofs over people's heads, to get the mentally ill off the street and get them some help. We could be doing all this. And we need to be doing all this. And it's wrong that we're not doing it. And there will be karma if we don't straighten our acts up. Because I'll tell you right now, the sun ain't going to give a shit about people who don't give a shit about themselves. Just how it is right there. Well, I had planned actually to talk about starseeds and everything, but I think I'll save that for the next video, which I hope to do sometime soon, but I don't even feel like pulling a cool card to leave out on. But I will, because that's what I like to do. Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have. 4 Pentacles, holding on to something other. Holding on to happiness. Well, I'm holding on to my happiness. I don't feel like sharing it. My protection, my magic with people who don't care. I was chat hopping the other day through the comments pages, and someone was talking about blah, 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 ego, blah, 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 something else about ego. And I'm thinking to myself, now I know I have ego. I go around calling myself the sun, the Aries, and all my titles, all my names. Yeah, that's ego. But you know what? My ego doesn't stop me from doing the good things that I'm doing. Doesn't stop me from trying to work with readers who do missing persons cases on my Twitter page. Doesn't stop me from sticking up for the LGBT. Doesn't stop me for trying to put a stop to the bullshit that religions do. And all these so-called light workers, what the hell are you doing? You can't sit there and call yourself a light worker if the only thing you're doing is twin flame or love reads. Now, there's a place for twin flame and love reads, but not if you're calling yourself a light worker, because a light worker does something, helps something, fixes something, teaches something. And that's why a lot of these readers are getting out of tarot, because what they've brought, a lot of these so-called light workers, I think both Chandler and Pretty Boss TV call themselves light workers. How? Why? What did you do for you to call yourself a light worker? What did you do?